Hey guys, I have a very simple question. Do you want to crush any chess opponent? If your answer is yes, then suggesting you to learn the devastating Domino's defense trap, a sneaky tactics that leaves opponents helpless. So get ready to master this powerful trap. I have broken all the lines and variations for you. Watch the video till to end and discover the key ideas to unlock your chess potential. Hello my dear friends, hope you all be fine and doing well. Thank you so much for joining me again. Thank you so much for joining in your channel. My dear friends, in today's video, I'm going to explain about the Domino's defense. So, in this video, I'm going to explain all the lines and variations that you can play against Domino's defense and how you can trap your opponent. So in this way, your opponent should not have any chance to escape from your hand. So I am assuring you, by the end of this video, you will not have any doubt regarding of Domino's defense. So my dear friends, without wasting the time, let's get started the game. In this position, you just simply push the pawn into e4. Your opponent is pushing the pawn into e5. Now you just simply take your knight into f3. Your opponent is defending by his pawn by pushing the pawn into f6. Now you have this brilliant attack, sacrificing your knight by capturing the pawn into e5. When your opponent is capturing your knight, so from this position onward, I am giving you 100% guarantee that I am going to explain all the lines and variations that you can play against your opponent in any level. So how you should punish your opponent. Let's get started this position. My dear friends, in this position first, you have to start by giving this brilliant check by your queen. When you are giving this check, your opponent has two options. The first one is moving his king and the second option is pushing the pawn. So now I am starting from moving the king. After that, I will explain about pushing the pawn. Now in here, if your opponent bring his king into e7, in this position, my dear friends, you should be careful. And you have this brilliant capturing the pawn and giving a fantastic check to your opponent. Your opponent has only one option, and that is taking his king into f7. You have another fantastic check by your bishop. When you are giving this check, your opponent has two options. The first one is pushing the pawn and the second one is moving the king. So in this position, I'm going to show you what happens if your opponent moves his king. So later on, I'm discussing about pushing the pawn. In this position, if your opponent bring his king into g6, be careful my dear friends, you have this brilliant check by your queen. Your opponent has only one option, and that is taking his king into h6. Now you have another check by pushing the pawn into e4. Your opponent has only one option, as you control all these squares, and that is pushing the pawn into g5. You just simply push the pawn into h4. As you are attacking to this pawn, your opponent cannot capture your pawn because you pinned the pawn by your bishop. So in this position, your opponent has two options. The first one is taking back his king and the second option is bringing his bishop. Without these two options, if your opponent plays any move, definitely you can checkmate your opponent. So in here again, I am starting from moving the king. For example, if your opponent brings his king into g7, now you have the best move, and that is giving a check by your queen. So in this position, your opponent has only one option, and that is taking back his king into h6. Now you are capturing the pawn and giving a fantastic checkmate. So you see my dear friends, in this position, your opponent can't do anything and you can trap your opponent into checkmate. So my dear friends, coming back to the main lines. In this position, I told you, when you are giving this check, your opponent has two options. The first one is moving his king, and the second one is pushing the pawn. So moving the king, I already explained you. Now I'm showing you that what happens if your opponent push the pawn. If your opponent push the pawn into g6, you have the best move, and that is capturing the pawn by your queen and giving a fantastic check to your opponent. So in this position, whatever your opponent does, he is losing his rook. For example, if he cover this check by his queen, so now you are simply capturing the rook. The only option for your opponent is capturing your pawn and giving you a check. So in this check, you just simply take your king into d1. Now you can dominate the entire game. So your opponent does not have any active move. So in this way, you can dominate the game and you can win the game easily. So my dear friends, coming back to this line. In this position, I told you, when you are giving this check, your opponent has two options. The first one is moving his king, and the second one is pushing the pawn. Now in this position, your opponent is using from the second option, and that is pushing the pawn. In this position, you just simply capture the pawn and giving a check to your opponent. So in this position, when you are giving this check, your opponent also has two options. The first one is covering this check by his bishop, and the second one is moving his king. So first, I'm starting from moving his king. If your opponent take his king into g6, remember my dear friends, you just simply push the pawn into h5, and you should have control in all these squares. So for example, in this position, you control all the squares. So in this position, your opponent doesn't have any other active move, and you are waiting for your opponent's move. For example, if your opponent push the pawn into h6, now you have the best move, and that is capturing the pawn by your bishop. Somehow you are sacrificing your bishop and attacking to your opponent's rook. So your opponent, if he captures the bishop by his bishop, so now you have this brilliant checkmate by your queen. So in this way, you can checkmate your opponent. So coming back to this line, my dear friends, in this line, I told you, if you give this check, so your opponent has two options. The first one is moving his king, and the second option is covering this check by his bishop. What happens if your opponent cover this check by his bishop? Now you are simply capturing by your queen and giving a checkmate to your opponent. So in just one move, you can checkmate your opponent. So my dear friends, coming back to this position. In this position, when you capture the pawn and attacking to your opponent's rook, so your opponent is not capturing your bishop, and you don't have this fantastic check by your queen. On that time, what you should do? So now it is your opponent's turn. In this position, your opponent, instead of taking your bishop, he is taking his another bishop into d6 and attacking to your queen. This is the second option that your opponent has in this position. Your opponent, by taking his bishop into d6, attacking to your queen and attacking to your bishop. In this position, you should not worry, and you have the best move, and that is taking your queen into a5. Now your opponent cannot capture your bishop, because again you have this brilliant checkmate. So in this position, when you are taking your queen into a5, so your opponent is not capturing your bishop. So what is the best move for your opponent? Maybe this is the only hope for your opponent, and that is taking his knight into c6. Somehow your opponent is saving his rook, because now he is attacking to your queen. In this position, instead of taking the rook, you just simply capture the knight by your bishop, and still you are attacking to your opponent's rook. And here your opponent is saving his rook. And here you have this brilliant move, and that is pushing the pawn into e5 and attacking to your opponent's bishop. And here the only best move for your opponent is to taking is bishop into b4. You have lots of good options to play. The first one is capturing the pawn, and the second one is giving a check by your bishop. So now it's better to capture the pawn by your queen. Or you have this base move, giving a check by your bishop. So now your opponent is moving his king. Now you can capture the pawn. In this way, as I said, that you are in a winning position, and as a white, you can easily win this game. So thank you so much, my dear friends, for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed from watching that video. I tried my best to explain all the lines and variations that you can play against Domino's defense. If you have any doubt, if you have any question, so you can write in comment section below. So if you like the video, please subscribe the channel, share it with your friends and family members. So in this way, you are motivating me to make lots of good videos in the future. Thank you so much. See you in the next video.